As Africa's leading defense news portal, DefenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defense, the South African National Defence Force, and the defense industry. Hi folks, welcome to the DefenceWeb weekly newscast. In this week's edition, in Southern Africa, Botswana's police are to receive Enstrom 480B helicopters in August. South Africa authorised 500 million rand in arms exports for the first quarter of 2020, and South Africa improves its peace ranking. In SANDF news, Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula says the Mozambique insurgency could spread through Southern Africa. There are 5 SA Navy maritime patrols this year under Operation Corona. Border patrols have netted contraband worth 13 million rand, and the SANDF is dealing with another tough defence budget vote. Under the coronavirus relief operation Notlela, the Defence Minister has reported 4 soldier misconduct incidents, while 3 reserve soldiers have died. In company news, Rheinmetall Denel Munition wins a new munitions plant contract, and an African presidential Boeing 737 gets a missile protection system. In African defence news, the Botswana Police Service will be receiving 3 new Enstrom 480B helicopters in August, after their delivery was delayed by 2 months due to the coronavirus pandemic. Safomar Aviation, Enstrom's local dealer, in December 2019 announced the order, which was signed at the Heli Expo 2020 in January. Delivery was scheduled for the second quarter of this year, but this has been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. The turbine helicopters are now expected to arrive around August. Botswana Police Air Support Division Director Arthur Johnson told Botswana's Gazette. Once in service, the upgraded Enstrom 480Bs will be used for crime prevention, wildlife conservation, command and control, and search and rescue, as well as training. The SA National Conventional Arms Control Committee (NCACC) approved 137 export permits valued at over 500 million rand in the first quarter of 2020 and approved the supply of weapons to neighbouring Mozambique. This is according to a report tabled at a meeting of Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence (JSCD) in late June by Committee Chair Jackson Mthembu, Minister in the Presidency. He said South Africa supplied weapons to Mozambique but did not disclose what weapons were involved or quantities. We couldn't say no to Mozambique as it has a legitimate government under attack by terrorists, he said, referring to the insurgency in the Cabo Delgado province. Mthembu's presentation showed South African defence industry produced goods went or will go to 42 countries authorised by the NCACC. A total of 137 export permits worth 500 million rand were authorised for the first quarter of 2020. Mthembu's presentation provides no information on exact products or services provided or contracted for, or which countries will be on the receiving end of the South African defence expertise in the wider sense. South Africa improved its peacefulness ranking in 2020, while the continent as a whole declined in line with global trends, according to the latest edition of the Global Peace Index report. The Institute for Economics and Peace, in its 2020 report released last month, said South Africa had the 4th highest overall improvement in peacefulness in 2020 reports, after Armenia, Bahrain, and Azerbaijan. Its overall score improved by 3.4%, which saw it rise 3 places to be ranked 123rd overall. However, despite this improvement, South Africa still faces many challenges to peace, especially in the safety and security domain. In particular, it has a very high homicide rate and very high levels of violent crime, the Institute said. And in South African National Defence Force news, Defence and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula was warned that the Islamist insurgency in Mozambique could spread to neighbouring South African Development Community SADC states. She was answering a parliamentary question for written reply by Democratic Alliance MP Mimi Gondwe, who asked if Defence Intelligence can confirm that there is an increase of Islamic insurgency activities currently in the province of Cabo Delgado, Mozambique, and if there has the potential to spread to other provinces and neighbouring South African Development Community states. Mapisa-Nqakula confirmed in her reply published on the 15th of June that Defence Intelligence has found an increase in insurgency activities. As the Islamic insurgency activities may affect some SADC states, the regional political and military approach has been recommended, and to this effect plans are in place to discuss and concretize the approach, the minister stated. The SADC in May urged its members to support Mozambique in efforts to overcome terrorists and armed groups in Cabo Delgado. The South African Navy plans to carry out 5 maritime patrols during the current financial year under the border safeguarding Operation Corona. This is according to a presentation prepared by Joint Operation for Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence. Although its main focus is on South Africa's land borders, Operation Corona is mandated to patrol South Africa's territorial waters, which includes its exclusive economic zone, continental shelf, and Prince Edward and Marion Islands. 84 days of surface maritime patrols/deployments are allocated a year, while 22 days of subsurface patrols have been allocated for the 2020-2021 financial year. Further proof of the porosity of South Africa's borders, particularly those on land, comes from the Joint Operations Division of the National Defence Force in its May statistics for the border protection tasking Operation Corona. The value of contraband soldiers took from smugglers while patrolling a 10-kilometer wide strip along the over 4,800 kilometer of land border in May was 13 million rand. Soldiers also seized 4.1 million rands worth of narcotics and recovered livestock worth 364,555 rand from rustlers. An unspecified number of stolen vehicles, valued at 6.8 million rand, were seized before they could be smuggled out of the country. The South African Department of Defence has been hit hard with more bad news in terms of its budget allocation. Although it has been granted an additional 2.8 billion rand for 2020-2021, with 1.2 billion rand has been suspended due to the coronavirus pandemic, and 4 billion rand of the defence budget has been allocated to coronavirus relief purposes. This is according to the Supplementary Budget Review 2020, published by National Treasury on the 24th of June. It states that additional money has been prioritised for the COVID-19 response, with government reprioritising 3.3 billion rand to support these interventions, primarily in the Departments of Police and Defence. Additional funding of 6.7 billion rand is provided to support the COVID-19 response and increased deployment of the police service and the National Defence Force during the lockdown. These funds are provided mainly for the procurement of personal protective equipment and operational costs associated with roadblocks and air support. The total proposed allocation for defence for the 2020-2021 period is 55.3 billion rand, up from 52.4 billion rand in the 2020-2021 main budget. But 4.092 billion rand of the defence budget has been allocated to COVID-19 response measures. This includes 1.8 billion rand for general support, 682 million rand for military health support, and 875 million rand for force employment. Other money has been taken away from the defence budget, with 1.2 billion rand in funds suspended due to the coronavirus pandemic, mostly from general support, landward defence, administration, and maritime defence. The 2020-2021 proposed budget sees 17.4 billion rand allocated to landward defence, 7.6 billion rand to air defence, 4.9 billion rand to maritime defence, and 6.3 billion rand to military health support. 31.9 billion rand will be spent on the compensation of employees. Parliament has heard 4 cases of soldier misconduct involving civilians were reported to the SANDF since the national state of disaster and the congruent lockdown started more than 3 months ago. In a written reply to a question asked by Nkandla Freedom Party MP Nkosi Russell Ngazezela Chekabukulu, the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans said the incidents included the death of Alexandra resident Collins Corsa on Good Friday. Her response states an internal investigation in the form of a board of inquiry was conducted and finalised. The members allegedly involved were placed on special leave to allow the South African Police Service investigation to run smoothly as well as be finalised. Allowing SAPS process to proceed will assist to determine what the cause of death is. It must be mentioned another parallel investigation by the military ombud would be done as directed by the Minister. With the end of the first employment term of South Africa's military in the form of a regular and reserve forces along with the SA National Defence Force Auxiliary looming large, indications are some 600 South Africans volunteered to be a part of the military response to the coronavirus pandemic. Among those who volunteered, a Defence Web source said, are a sizable number of healthcare professionals, including doctors and nurses, other skills volunteers brought to Operation Notlela, including culinary, mechanical, and engineering disciplines. Operation Notlela, the military contribution to the national state of disaster, has claimed the lives of 3 reserve force soldiers to date. 2 were killed in incidents involving vehicles, and the 3rd died of medical causes, not necessarily coronavirus related. The dead soldiers are Rifleman M.F. Mngomezulu, Rifleman S.B. Mpete, and Lance Corporal J.S. Booth. And in company news, Rheinmetall Denel Munition (RDM) has signed a contract with a long-standing existing customer for munitions plant work. The more than 200 million contract will cover the upgrade of the customer's existing facility. We are highly proud to meet the requirements of many partners worldwide for localization and the enablement of creating sovereign capabilities. This strengthens our relationship and long-term partnership with our clients worldwide, stated young Patrick Helmson, CEO of RDM. The contract falls under RDM's plant engineering portfolio, which has established facilities in more than 30 countries across the world. RDM said it boasts world-renowned expertise in the design, manufacture, installation, and commissioning of process equipment and turnkey industrial manufacturing plants. Israel's Bird Aerosystems has delivered its Airborne Missile Protection Systems (AMPS) to a VIP customer in Africa, which will protect a presidential Boeing 737 aircraft. The company on the 24th of June said the AMPS system includes an AeroShield POD and missile approach confirmation sensor. It did not specify which country it had ordered the missile protection system, but only around half a dozen African nations fly Boeing 737s for presidential and VIP transport. According to Scramble Aviation Society's database, Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Mali, Morocco, Niger, Nigeria, South Africa, and Tunisia fly presidential or government Boeing 737s, with most of these being operated by their respective air forces. Bird Aerosystems said the AeroShield POD is designed to be fitted into wide-body aircraft and includes missile launch detection sensors, missile approach confirmation sensor, flare dispensers, and an inertial measurement unit. It can be easily transferred between different aircraft. The AeroShield pod can use both Bird's SPREO's directional infrared countermeasure system and flares. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the newscast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay safe during the lockdown, and we'll see you next week.